Hello, 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 again and again and again, hello. Welcome to the first Cyber Meetup of 2025. New year, new me, as I'd like to say, or new year, new meetup. Let's see if everybody can find themselves a place to sit. And we're gonna welcome you to the Cyber Meetup. Usually happens in a way that we have about an hour worth of talks, and then there's some questions involved, and we have a great lineup for you today. And then after that, an hour from now, then it's just basically get some drinks and find people to talk to. We have a great lineup for you today. We have basically 4 different topics with 5 people who are going to be coming up on stage. So we're going to have Jürgen, who's going to talk to us about this new fancy company called NEVERHACK. Never ever heard of that before. So, and then going to talk to you a little bit about the threat landscape again. And then we're going to introduce, we're going to allow our Tartu colleagues to introduce to us some science things, a new method and a paper that was out there as well. Then we have our own paper that we commissioned, and our good friends at PricewaterhouseCoopers and Tallinn Taltech have put together. And finally, we're going to hear a little bit about the cybersecurity challenge, youth, people who are coming and trying to find their place in the world of cybersecurity. Everything. Probably let's try to do this under an hour. So I think let's just kick it off. Jürgen, come on up here. Tell us about what you do and where you do it and what's going on in the world.
Hello, everybody. I hope the new year beginning has been kind to you. And before we start, I would like to ask for a huge round of applause to Lauri and the guys on the whole RIA team who actually make this event. And yeah, you can do it right away. So consistency beats everything, and doing those kind of events month after month, it's really good for the community. So NEVERHACK Estonia is the new company name. Probably you heard the previous name Cybers. Before that we were Security Software OÜ. And just since that's a new name, new things that we are doing, I thought that maybe it's a good time to share with all of you as well. Where to start? So, brief introduction to the Estonian part of the company. We actually started out in 2010, and this was the time where you could do security business by selling software and hardware to customers, and they were happy because they did most of the work themselves. And over the years, this trend started changing. They wanted to have services as well, because keeping talented people on board and making sure that the organization is protected needs help from the outside. And this led us to this service portfolio that we started developing in 2017, and we kicked off with a simple security monitoring. And in 2020, we thought that now it is the good time to actually go almost all into the services field, and then we did that by heavily investing and rolling out different kinds of services. And in 2022, we rolled out our main service at the Cyber Defense Center, where our customers could get basically everything what they need for their protection. And in 2024, we actually were acquired by a French company called NEVERHACK. That's where the name comes from. But the idea behind this group is that it actually combines many different security companies all over the world. And to tell you a quick story how this actually happened. So sometimes in life you have to get lucky. I became the CEO of the company in 2022, and I had two main goals. First one is to make sure that this service portfolio is growing because we were losing money. And we managed to increase the service portfolio 2 times. And the second part, since we were a company that was owned by small investors, then the message was clear: we need to find bigger investors. And I found one in Paris, and that thanks to the Estonian Foreign Ministry, because they invited Estonian security companies to come and meet with French cybersecurity companies. And the good thing in the morning was that when I was standing together with the ambassador, I was the only one who showed up. The other ones didn't came. There were several excuses, but I don't want to go into them. But I found myself behind a very long table, me and the ambassador, and sitting against a lot of people. And I just talked about Estonia and our company for an hour, and then eventually shook hands and left away. And 4 weeks later, I got an SMS that we will acquire your company. So that's how it went down. So very good experience. But yeah, let's talk about the group as well. Let's talk about the group, and its history starts in '83, and this company has also went through different mergers, acquiring different kind of expertise and competences in order to offer their services. And if we fast forward to the left side of the scale on my hand, then where Cybers in last year were acquired, there were actually 2 other companies also put into the portfolio. But at the end of the year, we grew to 1,200 employees. And we are more in 10 different countries. So Estonia, Belgium, France. We also, in the east side, we are in Singapore, Middle East, and recently also got into Canada, USA, and Mexico. So basically overnight, from 50 people to 1,200, it has been a wild ride. But the idea is a little bit similar to what we tried to do in Estonia as well. So if our customers have a partner to come to who could help you out when it comes to security services or whatever you need. So the same goal is with the group as well. And yeah, I'm not here to sell you, but this is the service portfolio. If you need the help, then we can figure something out. But maybe the most interesting part was that when we were acquired, then the good thing was that the team stays in place, and because they were buying the knowledge and the competences that we had, we didn't just sell some product that we had. And the main outcome of that, what has been, is that the Security Operations Center service that has been the core of our service portfolio is now driven by the Estonian team to roll out to other companies in our group as well. And what we are doing there is quite exciting. So first thing what I can name is that we are moving away from the tiered model towards the tierless model. So for example, how it has been in the Security Operations Centers, you have several tiers of analysts, 1, 2, 3, and then basically you kind of get stuck into that tier where you are. It depends. But we have introduced now moving to a tierless model. So all the analysts are part of dynamic teams, and they get to move to different roles over the course of their tenure. And this ensures that people are doing different kinds of things, not just solving incident tickets, and keep them more motivated. And also we are introducing and currently building a new platform that makes the onboarding of customers very easy and relatively cheap compared to the prices that we have today. So exciting times ahead of that service as well, but there will be some time I will come back to this stage to tell you once it's finished. Threat landscape part. So this, I think we cannot get past the DDoS attacks what are being made against Estonia and the Estonian companies. So this has been a theme of every meeting what we have. So this will continue to go forward as well. Then APT groups are still very interested in what we are doing. I think the last interesting ones that came out was the APT 44 with their Kapeika backdoor that has been used against companies in Estonia and in other countries as well. And also the Unit 29155 that has been causing quite harm to customers. So this is an example from what our customers have seen. So the phishing attacks what are being made are quite targeted, I must say. And one in the upper right corner, then it was actually quite successful. The customer was able, well, the attacker was able to invoke like a financial transaction in, I think it was 5 or 6 figures to extort, not extort, but basically defraud the customer out of this money, but it was stopped due to some fallbacks in the process, so it wasn't fully signed off. And WhatsApp messages, SMS messages claiming to be the CEO or whatnot, I think everybody has seen those, but we do see a lot of them in our customers as well. And imitating banking systems, tax systems, that's quite regular. And if you think that you will be out of work or the security work is ending, then I think that's not the case. This is from the Recorded Future, our threat intelligence provider basically, but this is from the last year. So every dot there is a reference to an Estonian organization where some data can be bought from the dark web about those companies. And it's just showing the 1% of all the potential references. And it was, I think, this set is 270 something. The whole 100% is 67,000. So we have the work cut out for us. So don't worry about that. And yeah, what to expect? I think maybe. Well, there are different types of predictions. Every security vendor does a security prediction in the beginning of the year, but I don't have a crystal ball, but just a few topics to remember what we could see. So those geopolitical tensions that we see, those will be accompanied by cyber activity as well. And the increase in ransomware attacks is growing globally. In Estonia, at least for last year, we didn't have to solve any of them. So that's I think, a good sign. But from RIA's data, I see that we still have those cases quite a lot. And the phishing activities what are being made are getting more sophisticated, so to speak. So this is not going away anytime soon. But yeah, that's the last slide. And I have maybe couple of propositions to the community. So first thing is I'm hiring. The team is growing in Estonia. So if you have the interest or maybe want to try something out new, then write me on LinkedIn, call me. If there are even potentials that you won't be working with the Estonian team, if you want to go international, then all those locations are available to you. Second thing is that we have actually got 2 very good partners from this community event, basically. So 2 Estonian startups that we are working together, we have met here. So if you have some sort of good idea what to do, maybe we can do it together and help the customers together. And the third one is that thank you for doing this job. It's nobody says thanks if everything is okay. But if things go wrong, well, I hope they don't. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much. This is a good example of a company. Just stay here for a second. Good example of like what the business side and what the market side of this is. We're going to take a question from the audience as well. Does anybody have a question for Jürgen right now? Yes.
Thanks. The logistics company, was it your client? Do you have any kind of like insights? Was it a big one, specifically targeted? Was it just kind of like a drive-by compromise or something like that? You mentioned with the APT sandworm. I mean,
No, it wasn't. It was just, I wanted to highlight it, but the logistics wasn't ours. Yeah.
One more? Anyone? Back there. There's one. Just a sec.
I'm not sure if it's a question to you, but maybe you have some opinion. Do you think AI chipsets have any impact on threat landscape in Estonia, for example, in particular?
AI chipsets per se.
Or let's just put it AI in general. There's always a question about like.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on chipsets, and I understand that Trump won't be selling us them as well. But when it comes to AI, we already talked about it with Lauri a bit. The security, like let's say the vendor and software provider side is getting a lot of AI products being pushed out. For example, even that you can like automate your security operation center to an AI that does basically everything. Those kind of things are coming to the market. And if you read the news and stuff, then supposedly the attackers are also using it. So I think it's just another tool in the toolbox. And but I don't have like a very good example to give you that, now we are using this AI and it is saving us this amount of work. I don't have that example yet.
All right, thank you very much. Give another round of applause to Jürgen. The AI question will definitely be part of topics for future cyber meetups and cybersecurity questions in general. The basic logistic or the basic principle is always whatever you can do with AI for defense or security, the other side can also do with AI for offense. So, this is what we're dealing with. But let's continue with science and research. So our good friend Raimundas, come on up here. He is going to tell you a little bit about a paper and then an approach that they are working with to see whether something is secure. Is this it? Yes, okay. Go, take it away.
Hello, do you hear me? All good? Okay, great. So, hello everyone, it's nice to be here again and to be here on stage and to present this time a little bit of the science as Lauri mentioned. So let me see. So I would like to present you the fast approach. And the fast here, it's not about the speed, but rather it's about the way of how to understand whether your system is secure or not. And it means fast means functions, assets, security threats, and their treatment. And this work is done in a response to some call which we were working on last year, the call which came from the Information Systems Authority. And after that, after doing some pre-initial analysis, we have decided to move it on with the approach which I'm going to present to you here. And Lauri was also mentioning about the paper. So the paper is called Functional Security and Automation, the fast approach. And it was presented in December at the POEM conference, the practice of enterprise modeling. And apparently we won as the best paper award. That's why I decided maybe it's worth to speak it a little bit more and to say what the fast stands on and what we have in there. Okay, so what is the FAST? What is it about and what does it target? So the work is about the way of how to analyze automated systems. Of course, automation, it can help you with the manufacturing, it can speed up, increase your productivity and so on and so forth. However, it also comes with the challenge. It comes with the challenge that this type of the systems, as all the system what is being used, well, nowadays anywhere, everywhere, basically, it needs to be secure. It needs to deal with the security infrastructure. It needs to deal with the lack of the limited resources. It needs to rely on the external vendors. And this is a question, whether we can guarantee and find the way of how to make this infrastructure, these systems secure. And our challenge was to understand, to explore how the security risks can be understood, explored, and managed in the automated manufacturing systems and technologies. And therefore, we came out with the proposal of this FAST, which basically has the key pillars, key background in the following like technologies, existing technologies. So we are not trying like to reinvent the wheel, but rather we try to put the things together for a certain purpose. And what's the purpose? The way to support the design of this type of the systems, and also to support the understanding what is the security level within this type of the systems. This main pillar, it comes with the RAMI, ISSRM framework, core functions, Stride, and okay, we applied all these 4 different things as a starting point from the literature review to develop the underlying foundations for that. What are these different components? So I mentioned RAMI. RAMI stands for the Reference Architecture Model for Industries 4.0. And the interesting thing here, since we deal with the manufacturing systems, the interesting thing here is that this framework, it separates between core dimensions. It separates between this business layer, function layer, information layer, communication, integration, and asset layer. And it has another dimension on the products, field devices, control devices, stations. So basically, it speaks about the different components. And indeed, our purpose was focusing on the different assets along the component dimension. Another important component here, it came with the information risk management, meaning that everywhere we need to deal with information. Since we have here the asset level and the component level, we need to understand how this information is being managed within this type of the systems, within this type of the architectures. And this model, basically, it separates between 3 major pillars. It explains what we need to secure. It explains on where we need to secure, against what, and how we need to secure. So we can speak here about the assets, we can speak about the risks towards these assets, and about the way how we treat this risk. Another thing, which is again important component here, is to see what is the overall architecture and where this information is actually managed, where this information goes through the system. And therefore, we found the approach which suggests us on how to deal with the information. And this approach comes from the work system method, again, some literature-based approach, which explains on how information is being captured, how it's being stored, how it's being manipulated, transmitted, retrieved, and displayed. And the final thing, one of the final things, it comes with the way of how we address and target this information, against what we protect this information. And here, nothing again like super duper new. We come with the Stride approach: spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, elevation of privileges. This approach helps us to classify different security risks, which we can explore, see, find within the system. So taking all this approach, all these underlying bases into account, like this RAMI, functions, risk management approach, Stride approach, we came up with the FAST approach. FAST stands for functions, so we need to understand what are these core functions for information management, assets, what we need to protect, security threats, against what we protect, and treatment, how we protect. And, well, in a nutshell, this is kind of the approach model for the applying the FAST approach. We need to understand where these functions are, how these functions relate to our assets, how the security threats targets the assets, and how we treat it. And of course, I showed you some example only here, but it comes through all the different stride categories in the big nutshell. Now, how to use this approach? To use this approach, first of all, we need to understand and explore and actually learn on what type of the systems we have. What are the components of the systems? How they are working? How they spread the information? In other words, we need to have a good documentation of that system. Whether this documentation is already prepared with the technology which comes to the company, or whether this information documentation needs to be designed in the company, this is, a big question. But in other words, we need to learn what system we are using. And once we have the system, we can actually explore what are the core functions within the system. Whether it's like captures, where the information is being inputted, captured, where it's being transmitted, shared between the different parts of the system, how it's being manipulated, changed, how it's being stored, retrieved, how it's being given back to the users or to other devices, how it's being displayed. Once we know that, we can actually analyze function by function, and then analyzing a certain function, we basically have the link, the reference between what type of the risks are potentially coming to that particular place within the system. And this goes with the potential outcome for the countermeasure. This is one approach. Another approach that FAST also supports is the detailed understanding on how the risk itself can be spread within the system. What would happen? Where these risky points exist in the system? And this is like, again, we can support the modeling of the risk, threat modeling within the system, understanding the vulnerabilities within the system. And once we have that, we can also see on how we can actually go with the potential treatment suggestions and decisions for its treatment. So this is how it goes in the nutshell. So as they say, this is like one of the key components here comes with the need for documenting, challenge with the need for documenting, challenging with the personnel who would recognize and know the system. But on the other hand, we're also benefiting, once we know that, we are benefiting with the possibility to explore the actual threat landscape within the system, to understand what are the countermeasures and support the decision making how to treat these existing threats. So this is as also was introduced as a research result. So we came up with this FAST approach. Now we are developing it further on, exploring, the further on the relationships between all the components, between the functions, assets, security, threats, treatments. We're also looking for the piloting studies. So basically, if you are interested in seeing on how the FAST work and in this way benefiting on the systematic risk analysis within your system, please, I'm really would be happy to collaborate and discuss further collaboration ideas. And also we are thinking of, expanding the system to cover not only like a few dimensions of the RIA approach, but also covering other dimensions. So this study is continuous, and it will be continued as the part of the CHESS project. So, it's within the, on this stage, it was also introduced already a few times what CHESS is about. Like it's a collaboration between the Estonia and South Moravia, like building this excellence hub. So we will be co-working on this in this project and in this on this model for more details. And last but not least, I'd like to use this stage and to say also a little bit about the upcoming event in Tartu. So this year we will be organizing a big event, relatively big event in the security field, and it will be in November. And the event is the Nordic Conference on Secure IT Systems. So please follow us and let's get in touch. Let's collaborate.
All right. Thank you so much, Raimundas. Let me just ask you first, because there's so many methods and approaches, the stride, the RAMI, the FAST, and then there's some security standards in way this, something needs to be analyzed or treated or something like that. So let's put yourself in the shoes of a company who is taking a look at their assets and so on. Should they be, ditching a security standard to take a look at the fast approach? Is that the better approach? What do you think? What recommendation would you give to that company?
Okay, first of all, the standard supports you with the guidelines. Another thing is one of our research directions actually to map and to get the insights from the standards also to the fast approach. So I'm still advertising for the fast.
Okay, absolutely. Is there a question from the audience as well? Absolutely, let's go. Eugene.
My question, what is the role of professional intuition in this model? Because we are talking about real cases, right? When you create models for real cases, what is the role of professional intuition? How you apply it?
How you apply it? So basically, it's one of the approaches to support the security risk management. So first of all, you need to know what is your system. Once you know that, then we can continue with finding what are the key values of your system and to continue with that. The first step is knowing your system.
Right. So Raimundas will be around for a little while after this as well. You can come up to him and ask him about this approach and the paper later on as well, and how you can probably also use this in your professional setting. Thank you very much, Raimundas.
Thank you.
Give another round of applause, please. Next up, we're going to have a small introduction of another study that we commissioned from RIA side. But before we actually go into the study, and I'm going to invite Triin up here in just a minute, I'm just going to tell you just a little bit about why we did it. The idea here is that over the last 1.5 years, starting from 2023 March all the way up to August of 24, RIA with the Estonian Business Innovation Agency, ECSC, we were giving out like small grants to people, to companies, not to people. And these companies were able to take these small grants and buy services from you, cybersecurity companies and people. And so they had to use this methodology, which was about like mapping the security posture and all those. And once we actually got to give out all the grants, we wanted to find out. Is it any good? Did it do anything? Like, is there any benefit to all of that thing? And so we decided that we, from RIA, may not be the perfect analyzers of this question, because we're a little bit biased. It was our project, and we really liked it, and we really think it was like really, really good. But so this means that we decided that we were going to take that data that we got, and we're going to allow our business partners, our project partners, to actually dissect it, analyze it, synthesize it, and take a look into, like what can we learn from that project. And so I know that I maybe made an introduction too long into this, but the results are out. And the results are in a paper that you can find on RIA's website. And I'm going to invite up here Triin to come up here and start us off. And then we're going to have Rain coming in a little bit later to tell us, come on up here, there's a microphone, your slides are up there, and the clicker you can use. Take it away.
Great, thanks. So from my side as well, just a really, really quick teaser for you guys to see where we ended up and what are our main findings. And second of all, Rain is going to talk about what are the recommendations for RIA and how to sort of take this knowledge and reapply it and hopefully do something similar in the future as well. Before we move on, excellent team of ours who is behind this this project. Most of us are in this room as well today. So after this, feel free to reach out to us. We can talk more. But so essentially, as Lauri already said, we wanted to, well, our task was to understand where these SMEs stand in terms of their cybersecurity level and whether the cyber transformation roadmaps, which they did, are actually helpful, useful, and applicable for them. And secondly, we looked at the methodology behind the cyber transformation roadmap and analyzed it in a way how it would actually be more helpful for the SMEs who are potentially in the future carrying out a similar assessment. So essentially the study was done in two parts. So in the first part, we reviewed 28 of the over 60 roadmaps that were sort of built during that time. We looked at different kind of data from those roadmaps. So first of all, we looked what are the things that the service providers have done. For example, majority of them used gray box methodology. They added, in addition to the RIA methodology, a different information security standards, etc., to the standard. We secondly looked what is the situation amongst SMEs. So what are the most common vulnerabilities that they have? What are the most common recommendations? So where SMEs should start if they want to improve their cybersecurity situation. And based on that, we already had some initial recommendations how to make it better. And secondly, we had a couple of interviews with different service providers who had worked with different SMEs. And we asked them how the methodology worked for them, what are the important things to add, and how to make it more useful for companies who are doing this similar analysis in the future. And after that, we reached quite a few recommendations, which Ryan is going to talk about now.
All right, thank you. Good evening from me as well. As the introduction said, I am a professor at the university, so it typically takes me about 45 minutes to warm up. I was told until I have 9:30? Good. It will not be that bad. I'll try to make it quick. But before that, let me just cover some more generic findings. So obviously, this was an interesting insight into how small companies that are not really cyber savvy, how are they doing? We had this sort of operating assumption going in that they probably are not doing all that well, and that is perhaps, something that we would expect to come out in the results as well, because this measure was actually targeted to these companies. So we're not just looking at SMEs who are small. Most of you probably are small, right? Even though you are very, very capable in cybersecurity. So this was not a measure that was targeting you. It was really targeting companies that are taking their first steps. And I'm glad to report that, yes, that assumption holds. Companies that are taking their first steps are not doing all that well. They do need your help. And this measure actually helped bring some of that help to them. And I hope there might be other measures, other services that come up and target that group, because let's be honest, most companies in Estonia are small. Medium probably doesn't really even enter into it. and they do need our help, which is good news for you because there's more work for you. Second generic observation was that everybody we talked to, so we did conduct a bunch of interviews, thought that this was in general a good program, that it was helpful for these companies, and ideally there would be more things like this in the future. So I am going to go through some improvement points here, but this is not meant to indicate that we only found bad things. This is just that we were asked to talk about the improvements in this presentation, so we're going to talk about what can be done better. Overall, the program was seen as successful. And on this slide, on the recommendations on the methodology one, this is mostly focusing towards RIA. Yes, they are the authors of this. Yes, they might be biased. And yes, there are some things you could do better if you would do it again. I'm sure you knew that going in as well. And luckily, these are things that are actually doable, right? So if there would be a program like this again, these are really small, I would even say nitpicking examples here, such as, number one, there are certain things in the scope that should be taken out, perhaps. Things that don't have as much staying power. If you do a quick network map and then say, also do all of these things, and this network map is going to be out of date within maybe the first few days. However, companies also pointed out that what they found lacking perhaps in the methodology are dedicated sections that discuss, well, how is cloud being used in these small companies. Section on directory services, for example. And perhaps a slightly faulty assumption that all of these companies actually do have security documentation. So some of the methodology basically says, compare security documentation against what they actually have. And one of the findings sometimes was there is no security documentation to compare against. So, but these are very simple fixes that could be done, such as explain a bit better how RIA expects that the cybersecurity knowledge is assessed. Is this a gut-based assessment? Are we looking for some sort of a test? Should there be like a phishing campaign or a test as part of this or not? Because right now, different service providers, many of you, took very different approaches to answering some of these questions, which was to be expected because RIA wrote this initial methodology to be very flexible, leaving a lot of freedom to the companies that put these maps together. But in the interest of having more comparable products out there, you may want to perhaps specify what does good look like, or what is expected. Another very, very nitpicking thing, we had this discussion with some of the service providers who said that when they actually went to present this to the companies, they went through this methodology, the standard map that was kind of given to them, and it was built possibly like inspired by a pen test report. So there's lots of technical discussion, technical details, what to do, and in the very end there is a section that is sort of meant for management. And by that time, management, their eyes are already glazed over, and they are no longer paying attention. So just a small, simple thing, take that thing, move it to the front page, and perhaps you're going to get a bit more oomph in terms of implementing these findings in the company. So all of these things, very simple. Number one on the list I didn't mention, but it is obvious. Ideally, RIA would continue maintaining this methodology, so it would not be just a one-off thing for one project in 2024. There is value in this, so put some effort in, if possible, to keep it alive. Now, this thing also came with guidelines for the companies, so how to put this thing together. Again, some nitpicking here that we could do. Not really even nitpicking, just to make it more useful, is to have different examples present that are taking different hypothetical types of companies, sizes of companies, so that the people who are putting together these roadmaps in the future have a better understanding of what is expected. And it's really important to have the different aspects there, such as the roadmap for a 3-person company that really has no infrastructure to speak of is going to be slightly different to a factory that has, let's say, 2 different locations, real infrastructure, real hardware, moving heavy things around on a factory floor, right? So they are going to be different. The examples could also be reflective of that. Now, 3 and 4 in this list, I think, are perhaps a bit more interesting to the security companies and security community here. So right now, RIA basically acts as the owner, creator, maintainer, and guarantor of this methodology. It says, we made this, and because RIA actually has a pretty good reputation in Estonia, I think we all agree. We are all here, after all. Then, the companies that order this service from you quite often like that, because they felt that just because RIA is kind of in the mix as a guarantor of quality, they can trust the results a bit more. It is not just something that the salesman is trying to pitch to them that maybe they need, maybe they don't. They don't have the technical capability to assess whether they need this, or whether they are paying too much or too little over something like that. So it's important to have something providing this guarantee. We discussed, does it have to be RIA? Right? The answer is no, not really, but in the foreseeable future. So right now, it probably will have to be RIA, because in order to hand this role over to somebody like, I don't know, for the auditors perhaps, that takes a bit of doing and a bit of time. But right now, everybody was happy with having RIA as the seal of approval, the seal of guarantee that this is a good and useful thing. Number 4 was also very interesting and a bit surprising, perhaps. The security companies said that it was very useful to have a different security company do this mapping. And they brought a few interesting examples. There was one that said that, well, I've been trying to tell this company for years and years and years that you have problems here, and there's no change. And now they ordered this map from a different company. That company said the same thing, and suddenly this thing gets funded, right? So that might be useful, just to get a confirmation that I am not being sold something I don't need. The other company that is impartial also recommends that. So there's a few examples like this where this was seen as a very useful thing, and the interviews brought out that the companies actually would recommend a soft recommendation that if you do order a roadmap like this, then it is recommended, not mandatory, to order it from some company that is not currently your main service provider, just so that you would get this alternate view. Another potential benefit is that alternate view typically also finds a few different things. Something that maybe the current provider hasn't focused on, or is not really skilled in providing. And I think that is one of the more interesting findings that we got. But going down the line, there was an interesting question about how are these maps protected? Because there's a lot of sensitive data in this. If you're mapping somebody's security, you're looking into their underwear drawer. There's some stuff there that they don't necessarily want leaked. And there was question, well, if I give you access, okay, you, my service provider, have it, and now also RIA has it, and maybe Kadak has it, and what happens to all of this? So we had this discussion both with companies and RIA, and we are somewhat confident in saying that they have thought about it. It's not really a problem, but it needs to be communicated better next time. Checklists, how are these roadmaps actually assessed in order to get the support? Need to be also better communicated. They were there, but not everybody found them easily enough. And obviously, if you know what is being measured, you're going to perhaps perform a bit better in meeting those requirements. Finally, some organizational recommendations as well. So on RIA webpage, there is a list of companies. Many of your companies are on that list that are kind of shown that, hey, if you want to, for the previous measure, right? So if you wanted to get support, so here's a list of companies that you could go to. And while this is very good for a company to come in and find a list of service providers, then it was not very clear to a third party how companies made it to that list. What are the requirements to be added to that list? What are the sort of qualities that you need to have? So that is something that also should be clarified and communicated better if this continues. We also found that obviously there is more need for this. This one round of support did not cover all of Estonian SMEs, not by a long shot. So there should be a push, if possible, to build on this success. Companies also highlighted that perhaps the marketing focus push should really be on the management side, not on the IT or tech side, because the tech people know they need help. But somebody needs to tell their CEO that this help is available and it is useful, and some of it, or maybe all of it, will be covered by a government grant. So this is just a marketing nitpick. And yeah, so a few final notes. Some companies found it quite tedious to have everybody on the team sign off on every single project. So this is clearly something that we could look at. Maybe we don't need every expert to sign the procurement document. And yeah, so the document is available in 2 languages, and you can go, and you're welcome to go and see and read. There's more detail there. There's more nuance there. Since I got the sense that you don't really want to be here until 9:30, and you don't want me to read this entire thing to you, then I highly recommend, if it sounds interesting, if you were one of the companies who was part of it, or if you would like to be part of it, or something like it in the future, go look at what these are. There are some things that would perhaps help you get started in terms of mistakes to avoid, because we did highlight some of these examples as well. And yeah, I think that's it from me. Thank you very much. And back to you.
Thank you very much. If you did not understand anything that's going on here,
very likely,
then go to RIA's website, look for cyber transformation, or in Estonian küberpööre. It'll give you a little bit of context into what we did, what the introduction was there as well. But I just want to highlight that the security aspect of this, we do take very seriously. These the data that was provided to our partners for analysis was anonymized. Nobody knew what was the finding, who was the finding about. And so this is something that we do actually care very, very much about. Let's have, let's postpone the questions because we have one more presenter. He'll be here for a little while and you can ask him and you can ask us about like, what is this cyber transformation? What are those grants and what can we do? One more round of applause, please. Our final speaker tonight is Johannes. Johannes, come on up here. Tell us about the European Cybersecurity Challenge and everything that's going on around that. There's a microphone right there.
Sure, thank you. So, as we're already at 7 p.m., I'm going to keep this short. I was given about 10 minutes. I'm going to cut it down a little bit to keep it kind of nice and neat. Long story short, every year, one European nation is hosting a huge-scaled young hacker event. We take university students who learn cryptography, binary exploitation, vulnerability research, zero-day exploits. We take these hackers, we fly them to a country in Europe, and we make them compete against each other. That's the Eurovision of Hacking European Cybersecurity Challenge. The best parts of this event is that, one, we have a really strong community spirit, and the second one is the skill levels insanely high. This is the amount of teams that were there in Italy last year. We're talking about 40 nations, each playing with 10 people, 10 students from universities across the nation. We have guest teams from Japan, from the UK, from the US, Canada, Singapore, Australia. We have people who fly for 14 hours just to be a part of this event. Estonia is right up here as well, and we're super happy to be there. So over the course of this event, we've normally kind of stuck at about a 10th place out of the 40 people. You know, digital nation, we're really good at digital. This is the type of people, this is the type of students that we're looking for. This is the things our students go on, learn, grind every day and night just to be a part of Team Estonia. Probably at least some of these people are really good employees, really good researchers to hire. One sample that I really wanted to show you is how crazy this event is. We were flying to Italy just a few months ago in October, and we were staying at a hotel. A few of our students were sitting in the lobby of this hotel and saw this cool guy with glasses just kind of open, wanted to talk to them. After a 15-minute conversation, we found out that they were talking to the chief of business of Arduino Incorporated. And they hooked us up to go to the Arduino HQ on a private tour. We could play around with the things, we could check all of the, like, how it's actually made. And it was so insane. So all in all, summary is Team Estonia is really good. The people are really smart, hire them. This is the mess we made in Italy. This is the laptops of the hackers. As you can see, Red Bull's a big part of this event. Now let's get to the point. The point is that this year we also need to fly to Poland. And somebody needs to pay for that. And essentially, we're kind of at a start of this annual journey to pick up our hackers, find them, and recruit them. We are going to run a competition for them. We're going to train them. We're going to choose the best 10 of Estonia. Then we're going to practice even more. We have joint events with our partners across the entire Europe. And then in the fall this year, in October, we will have to go to Poland to show our skills. Normally, the training program budget has been pretty much like somebody's contributing pizza, somebody's paying for server space, not a lot of money. But the attending ECSC cost is something that we always have to kind of figure out at the last minute. This means paying for flights and accommodation for 10 plus people. And this means buying some merchandise, because it's really nice to go in common t-shirts, to have the same t-shirts for everybody. What we're looking for, your guys' attention for, is that, number one, if you know and if you're part of programs that have hacking students within our age bracket, That means up to 25 by the end of this year. Tell them to play the event. Tell them to compete and show their skills. Now for you guys, entrepreneurs, serial hackers, specialists, public sector executives, it would be really nice to actually get to Poland. So if you have some sort of reason to fund this entire thing, then let me know and let's talk in the socials. We have climbed in 2023 from our 25th position to the 15th total position last year. And we really need to get to the top 10 where we actually belong. So let's get this moving. One last thing in this slide is that if you work in cryptography, if you work in binary exploitation, if you work in reverse engineering, malware analysis, zero-day research, and you have something to tell us, something to share and teach us, our students need that. That was the category where we earned the least amount of points last year. Binary exploitation. So if you know anybody who's a good lecturer, if you know materials that can be used for us, give us binary exploitation materials. And that's the team from last year. Now, I promised another small thing. So, some people sell cookies. We decided to kind of show the Estonians how the European Cyber Challenge happens. We're hosting a CTF. This is a live-fire cyber event for entrepreneurs, for business teams, for your company. It's completely free. Find around 10 people. It's fun to play with 10. It's fun to play with 15. It's not fun to play with 2 people. Find around 10 people. Tell them to attend this event. And you'll get to see what an entire day's worth of European Cyber Challenge looks like. You're going to need red teaming skills. You're going to need blue teaming skills. You're going to need someone who can use Wireshark, who can analyze packets. You're going to need someone who can program. It's on the 29th of March. In order to get access, you need to just fill in the form, and I'm going to just make another server for you guys to play in. And it's open for companies, universities, whoever wants to play. The goal is to build awareness and show you guys that the European Cyber Challenge is tough to play, and the students who go there are worth investing in. Thank you.
Wait. Before we go, maybe another question. Question from the audience.
Hello, it's not a question, it's a comment, and that is I have a number of students who want to take part in the RIA CTF, but I don't have enough for a full team. So if anybody here is forming a team and needs 2 or 3 cybersecurity master students to join their team, then please find me afterwards. Thank you.
I can also tell you that if I have a shortage in some team, to just make a note in the registration and I'll just merge you in. We're going to also have webinars and actually teach you how to play the event. So no worries. We're actually going to teach you what you need to do, how to strategize, all of that.
All right, so comment, not a question, took out all our question time. That's fine because he's going to be here. You can ask him questions afterwards as well. Thank you very much. One more applause. Yeah, this is support the troops, basically. Support the kids. This is what the community events are about. There's people in this room, from public institutions, from universities, from companies. This is the community. These are the kids. These are the youth who need the support to actually be in the top 10. All right, we're gonna finish up today. This is the end of the official program. We're going to meet up with you again next time. It's in February. So 13th of February, it's a Thursday. So come on, be here and or watch us live online. Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for watching us from online. Have a good night.